Objection, there's no foundation. No foundation for workers' comp or sick leave or anything else related to this.
Well, let me ask a question. Is there going to be testimony that any claim has been made with respect to any of the parking enforcement officers involved in this case?
No, but that's one of the things we're trying to prevent with the injunction, Your Honor. So let me rephrase the question if I may.
Yes.
Are you concerned from a financial point of view for the municipality that claims of workers' compensation or disability or sick time may be incurred by at least the two PEOs that we've heard testimony from?
I am concerned. I think that, employee morale is really important, and I'm concerned that their situation may be negative in having caused some erosion in their morale. We are very fortunate. The city has typically had very good workers' compensation experience and experienced low claims. We have a favorable rating, but if that were to change, it would affect us negatively financially.
Thank you. That's further on direct may inquire.
Cost damage.
Ms. Fox, Mr. Alan Gibbons resigned in July,
Yes.
correct? Has any effort been made to replace him from July to September?
We have not yet initiated a recruitment.
How many employees does the city of Keene have?
Approximately 225.
And on an annual basis, what is the turnover typically?
We are fairly fortunate. We have pretty low turnover. In fact, the balance, the parking enforcement unit, frankly, is a good demonstration of how low our turnover typically is. Until we had a longtime employee retire, we hadn't hired any new parking enforcement officers. The remaining employees in that department all have 10 years in excess of 10 or 15 years. So
What is the average turnover rate, let's say?
typically turnover is attributable to retirement, and we have had, I think, probably 6 or 8 people retire since the first of the year.
So extrapolating it, that would mean typically you replace about 12 people a year, is that right?
Well, we'd like to do that, but one of the fiscal challenges that we've had is when people retire, we haven't had the luxury of replacing them, so we aren't replacing as many people. I think this year we have done recruitments for maybe three positions, 4 positions.
But in terms of recruitment and training, that's part of the HR function, correct?
Yeah, well, a portion of the recruitment is part of the HR function, and then a portion of the training is shared between HR, IMS, and the department who might be recruiting.
Now, but so when you talk about administrative costs, you're talking about people who are already employed, correct?
Yes, they are employed by the city currently,
If
but
they're not going to be hiring a new parking enforcement officer, they're going to be doing something else, correct?
there are usually lots of things that we can be doing, so
But
yes, they will be.
They're not going to get paid more because of, having to have to locate a new parking enforcement officer, correct?
The direct administrative staff will not be, their efforts will be focused on that task instead of some other task that needs to be done.
But at the end of the day, all the tasks will be completed, correct?
In priority order, we hope that we hit the most important, yes.
Now, you know an individual named Peter Thomas,
Yes, I do.
and Mr. Thomas was hired by the city of Keene earlier this year, correct?
It's my understanding he was, yes.
And from your perspective as finance director, what was his cost of his contract?
the cost of Mr. Thomas's contract with the city,
Yeah.
my recollection is it was approximately $1,200.
And he was hired for the purpose of basically engaging in surveillance of the defendants in this case, not the demonstrators.
Well, I think he was hired for the purpose of trying to see what the actual working conditions that the employees were under were. You know, we had some observations and there were some concerns expressed, and his role, I think, was really to do fact-finding on that in a way that, you know, wasn't casual.
And he did videotape, correct?
My understanding is,
And he videotaped, in fact, the defendants, correct?
I have not seen the videotape, so I don't know.
Isn't it fair to say that the videotape involved hundreds of hours of videotaping of him, by him of the defendants?
I cannot comment on that.
Now, lastly, you expressed concern about workers' compensation scenario. There has been no claim made yet, as I understand it.
To the best of my knowledge, no.
And I take it that the city has a workers' compensation carrier that covers workers' comp claims.
We are statutorily required to, so yes.
So the only potential conceivable financial effect on the city would be effect in terms of potentially on the city's rate.
Well, it would affect our experience modification factor, which would increase our premium.
Might increase your rate, correct?
It has the potential to increase our.
Thank you, I have no further questions.
Further examination?
Make for-
Make amendment, so.
Your Honor, at this point, I'll yield to Attorney Meyer to put on Mr. Cleveland without closing in chief.
And just so we're clear, was discussed at the very beginning. Attorney Meyer asked for permission to take Mr. Cleveland out of order. I indicated earlier that I would grant that motion, and it was gracious of the council that there wasn't opposed, so we'll have Mr. Cleveland testify. Mr. Cleveland. Attorney Meyer, would you like to swear in the witness, or would you like to?
I'm comfortable either way, whichever department works. Sir, if you please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, you may be seated. James, could you state for the record your full name and your current address?
Yes, James Cleveland, spelled Cleaveland. I currently reside at 173 Washington Street, apartment 9, Keene, New Hampshire.
And sir, are you employed?
Yes, I am.
And what is your employment?
I'm a accountant, a cost accountant.
And who employs you?
The Lane Corporation does.
And do you, sir, in terms of on the political front, have any type of political affiliations?
No, not really. I'm registered, undeclared.
Neither a Democrat nor a Republican nor anything in between?
I mean, I would say I try to avoid politics for the most part. I am running for city council at the moment, so.
Are you a member of any other group with political beliefs?
I mean, I blog at freekeene.com, but I wouldn't argue that that's a political group. It's just a website with people who share similar ideals.
Well, what is Keene.com?
Or freekeene.com?
Freekeene.com.
I guess you could. Most people probably would classify it as a political organization. It's really just a website where people who hold, I would say, liberty-oriented views. It's a place for them to blog and get their views out.
Are you familiar with the Free State Project?
Yes, I am.
And what is the Free State Project?
The Free State Project is an idea to get people who like liberty to move to New Hampshire. And, basically, I guess the idea is people who believe in liberty are too spread out. And so if we can concentrate ourselves in a particular geographic area, our views may have more weight to them.
You said we, are you affiliated with the Free State Project?
Yes, I am a Free State Project participant.
Now, there's been testimony about activity referred to as Robin Hood activity. First of all, where does the name Robin Hood come from?
Well, I guess originally there was a Free State Project participant named Lauren Canario. And it was either late 2008 or early 2009, I can't remember exactly, but she, I guess, had the bright idea to go out and fill parking meters so that tickets wouldn't be issued. And the idea kind of is, you know, the story of Robin Hood, everyone knows the classic story where steal from the rich and give to the poor, but he was actually stealing from the government and giving it back to the taxpayers. So I think that's kind of where the name was derived from.
And is there such a thing as a Robin Hood Project, or is there any sort of organizational structure associated with that term?
I mean, not really. Over the years, it's been various people. There was a gentleman who lives in Nashua now. I don't remember I'm not clear on the entire history, but for a good number of years, he would Robin Hood, and you know, he moved to Nashua, so he moved away. So, you know, I guess it kind of. I really didn't go out Robin Hooding in December. I started in January myself. So, you know, to say that anyone is in charge wouldn't be inaccurate.
Is anybody in charge?
No.
Um,
We constantly have various views on how, let's say, we should proceed. There's no consensus usually. You know, it's,
Views are different.
yes, we all have differing views. We're all individuals. So.
Is there any type of financial basis to the organization? Well, first of all, would you call it an organization?
I guess you could classify it as an organization.
Does it have any sort of corporate existence?
No, it's, I mean, on the Facebook page, which I didn't set up, someone called it a nonprofit, founded, I think it's either 2008 or 2009, but it's not registered with the state. It's not incorporated in any way, so.
There's been reference to a Robin Hood card that's been marked as an exhibit. What's the history on that?
There's a local graphics artist here in town, and we had expressed interest in making a card. And so he went ahead and he took the initiative, he designed it, he put the text on it. It was none of the defendants, we had nothing to do with the card. However, we do use them.
What about, again, let's call it a group.
Okay.
Does the group have any kind of financial basis? Bank account, treasury, anything?
There-
Anything on the financial side?
There is no Robin Hood of Keene bank account. There is a bank account at a bank for the Keene Activist Center. And that indicates on the card, there's a mailing address and a name. And so occasionally people do send donations. I think, probably right now I have 5 checks I need to put in the bank account. And primarily we use the donations to buy more change.
And how does it come about that people make donations?
Typically, we are downtown, we fill a meter, I call it a save, a meter that would have been ticketed. We'll leave a card under the windshield wiper blade. And then occasionally people receive said card, and if they like what we're doing, they send us a donation.
How would you categorize what Robin Hood is?
I mean, I guess it's different for everyone. I don't want to speak for everyone, but for me, it's the idea that, you know, I personally don't believe that parking a vehicle is a criminal act, because I don't think there's no damage, no one else is harmed by that activity, and I feel like it lacks like criminal intent. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, you could be downtown, you could want to get a haircut. You could intend, let's say you put 45 minutes in the meter. It's busy, you're in the middle of the haircut, you're issued a ticket because you couldn't get back out to your meter. So I don't agree that it should be a criminal act. I don't think the court should be involved with parking like this.
Well, do you think the parking should be essentially government
I mean, I would prefer it be private, but if the government is gonna run it, and I've told the city council this, I feel like a better solution would be, instead of issuing tickets, perhaps they could build more parking spots or find other solutions to address the parking situation downtown.
So, getting back to Robin Hood, what is your understanding of what that involves?
I would define it as you perform saves, which I would say is you get in front of the parking attendant, because you only want to fill a meter that would have been ticketed. At least my goal personally is not to give any unnecessary funding to the city of Keene. So it wouldn't meet my goal to just go around and fill parking meters. So I only want to fill a meter if it would have been ticketed. So it's the idea that I disagree with this, the way that parking is done, so I'm showing my displeasure by not allowing the ticket to be issued if I can.
Now, to your knowledge, are you paid at all for performing this Robin Hood activity?
No, I receive no personal gain from doing this activity.